He's a neuroscientist and a memory expert with Quincy Bioscience. And we're going to talk to him about your questions, those you've privately messaged to me as well. Mark Underwood, welcome to Smart Life.
Hey, Dr. Gina, how are you?
It's good to have you, Mark. I'm doing well, thank you. Now,
spicy topic today.
It's a little bit spicy, you know. You got to address these things, because if you don't talk about them, then they just continue to get worse. And I think our culture has a real problem, so I wanted to address it.
Well,
go ahead.
The largest sexual organ is the brain.
And that's such an important part, and precisely why we wanted to have you on the show today. And I'm a fan of your supplements. We actually talked about supplements yesterday. I'm a fan of your supplements, and I am a definite fan of doing things to improve your memory. Now I notice there are little tests you can take to improve your vision. If you're getting those 40-year-old eyes, I mean, there's just all kinds of things we can do to train our brain to do things differently. So if it contributes to our marriage, that's all a good thing. So I wanted to take this because sometimes I am a victim of this. I'm like a guy like this, okay? I try to remember people's birthdays, and thank God for Facebook and reminders, right? And thank God for good assistants like I have who remind me of birthdays and things like this. But even with my children's birthdays, I get flushed when someone asks me, because if I'm on the spot, I have to think for a minute. I do have 5 of them. Then there's, of course, my mother's birthday, my husband's birthday, my producer's birthday that I'm also supposed to remember. Should I be worried when I start to forget things like this? How much forgetting is normal?
Well, you should be a little bit worried. Obviously, what you're experiencing is not quite the end of the world, but it's sort of like the tip of an iceberg. It means that something's lurking underneath. And when you start to forget the things that you want to remember, that's memory loss. As we get older, and I'm accusing you, yes, getting older, we're all going to struggle with some of this at some extent. I personally, I don't want it to get bad, so I want to deal with it right away. And I'd like to see people have the same attitude, because I think we can do a lot for brain health in that regard. But yeah, you should do something about it. You shouldn't forget your kids' birthdays.
Yeah, no, I don't really forget my kids' birthdays. Okay, let me just be clear about that. And I will say this too.
You should have to write them on the back of your hand.
I want to say this too. Actually, this is how I comfort myself. I tell myself, you know, my memory's 100 times better than it was in high school. It really and truly is. And in college, I forgot everything then, because I've learned to take measures, I think, to protect myself from just completely forgetting an assignment. I'm one of those people that nightmare did happen to, where I did show up in class and I did completely forget there was an exam. That happened to me like on a weekly basis. It's a wonder I made it through. But then I'm also scrambling to remember names of things. I have to tell you, like, I'll get to events, and some people are just so good at this, at remembering people's names. And I want to be one of those people. Can you wave your magic wand and make me one of those people that remembers everybody's names?
Even better, I can give you a magic pill.
Yeah.
We see that improvement. You know, we talk about supplements. Our supplement Prevagen helps people remember more stuff, and it's clinically proven to do such. The key is that people have to believe that the brain can change. I think that's one of the most important things, to realize that if you have the resolve to make your brain work better, you'll take the actions to do so, and you'll make adjustments to your diet, and you'll change your exercise, and you'll change your alcohol consumption, and you'll take something like Prevagen, and you'll eat right, and literally you'll find that you don't have to leave Post-it notes all over the house, and you don't have to tie strings around your fingers or the proverbial writing phone number on the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
You can just remember stuff, and you don't remember everything. It's not like it's a curse. You just remember what you want to remember. And I can tell you, it just takes a lot of stress out of the day, knowing that you can count on your brain to pick up and vacuum up the facts and figures you need to know, so that you can use them later for just basically keeping your life straight and making it easier.
So tell me a little bit about the breakdown. How exactly does Prevagen work? Because I don't understand it. I take it all the time, but I don't understand it. But I do know that even if it's just a placebo effect, which, you know, you just never know these things. I know you have your clinical proof, but even if it is, I know that on the days I take it, I am my best prepared. So, I mean, if I'm leaving for an important television interview or something and I haven't taken that, I'm kind of in a panic. So talk to us about how exactly it is it works.
It's real simple. You make a certain type of protein in your brain that's there to help control your memories, okay? And we all make this throughout our lives. We make plenty of it when we're 20 years old, okay? And that's why 20-year-olds, for the most part, they don't have any memory issues, unless they drank too much. So, and they shouldn't, because they're not 21. Anyway, when we get older, say age 40, We need the same protein to keep our brain working right, but we don't make it in a sufficient quantity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Since we don't do that, we take Prevagen. It replaces the proteins that we need to balance this all out and allow us to think clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So the protein has several roles. It keeps the brain cells working. It keeps them connected. It keeps them alive. And when you don't have enough of it, your brain doesn't do its job very well, and you slip and trip and fall. You forget stuff. You embarrass yourself. Anyway, so when you take the protein, that replenishes what your brain needs, and that's how Prevagen works.
That makes sense. And so can a 20-year-old take it?
They certainly can. It's completely safe.
Well, that's good.
But just most 20-year-olds don't need it. I mean, just speaking frankly, usually you got to get into
I disagree with that now because these memory problems have been a problem for me my whole entire life, and my dad is a lot the same way, and it's been a problem for him. I can remember when my dad was in his 20s, and it's been a problem for him. And so I think some of these things, ADD or whatever, these issues, they're still around regardless of age, don't you think?
Well, I think they are. You're right. They are around. It usually takes the wisdom of a 40-year-old to realize you're not immortal and you can get help. So, yeah, you're right. If you've got a memory issue, Prevagen's good for you to help your brain be stronger, certainly.
All right.
And diet's good for your brain. I mean, get the sugar out of your diet.
Yes.
Minimize it.
I agree with that.
That's a big problem for a lot of people, and they don't realize it. Alcohol is bad for the brain. You want to eat good fats. You want to avoid the saturated fats. So there's nothing on this recommendation that says go to Krispy Kreme. I'm sorry.
Darn. Poor Jason's gonna die.
Jason sounds like he's in the age group he can probably suffer a few, right?
He loves the Krispy Kremes, I'll tell you that. Well, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate you being on the show, and I certainly know people should look at the research. Tell people again where they can find out all about Prevagen.
Sure. Go to our website at Prevagen.com, or just go to visit your local pharmacy. Go to Walgreens or CVS. It's right on the shelf. And this holiday season, we want to give the gift of memory, and I hope that you do too. So if you know a family member that's got more memory issues than you, get them a bottle of Prevagen, stick it in their stocking, and say Merry Christmas.
Okay, as a stocking, I'll let you go on that, but it can't be your major gift to your wife, or we're starting back at the very beginning of this show, Mark.
No,
Okay.
I think that would be a bad choice.
All right.
Diamonds
Mark Underwood.
and Prevagen.
Yes.
See you later.
Mark Underwood, thank you so much for being on the show. You can find him at QuincyBioscience.com or at Jellyfish Guy on Twitter. Send us your ideas for the questions of the show on Smart Life page at MoneyBizLife.com, or call them into 888-650-8176. Thanks so much for being with us. Now you go boldly now and live the smart life.